finally being able to play for Coach Kingsbury is something that, we've been talking about for a long time. And, to be here now, I can't wait to get in the building and get started.
Coach, you like the move by Arizona?
I do, and I like it for this reason. If they really feel that he gives Cliff Kingsbury the best chance to win, and he's got tremendous upside, and he can be their Russell Wilson or however you want to frame him, then it makes total sense. It just makes last year look so much worse.
Oh,
the poor decision on the head coach, on the quarterback, and all those things that it's hard to say, yeah, this is probably the right decision now. But I understand it from giving the head coach what he's looking for. I think it also says a lot about the market for Josh Rosen. There isn't a very big market for him, but it also says something about the market for Kyler Murray. I think if they had gotten offered a significant amount of picks, then keeping Josh Rosen in lieu of Kyler Murray might have been a different equation. But that wasn't there. So now they were really looking at it as apples to apples. Do we want Rosen? Do we want Murray? And they went with the guy that they felt gave him the best chance long-term to be a competitive franchise. So I never disagree with that part of it, but in the context of last year's decisions, it looks really bad.
I think it's almost impossible to compare Kyler to any of the other quarterbacks in this draft. You can compare Haskins and Locke, who hasn't been taken yet, and Daniel Jones, because stylistically they're similar players. Teams that might want Daniel Jones might want Haskins, might want Locke. Kyler, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of teams, speak to the lack of maybe a trade market, who looked at Kyler Murray and had the same reaction I had watching him in college football, which was, he is an amazing college football player, and I would be shocked if he is an NFL player. I thought when he won the Heisman, I was certain he was going to go play baseball. Like, I didn't think, and that should be noted, when the Cardinals made their choice on the head coach, maybe they had an idea he might be leaning football, but it wasn't official that he wasn't going to play baseball. So they didn't hire Cliff Kingsbury saying absolutely unequivocally Kyler Murray is going to be our guy. They clearly had it in mind, but he could have swerved to the left and been playing for the Oakland A's. If he can stay healthy, you said a little Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson's never missed a game. Last year, he didn't miss a snap. If he can stay healthy, I believe he'll be very, very successful. Now, you can say, well, everybody has to stay healthy. My concern of his health is greater than my concern for a quarterback that's 5 to 6 inches taller, that's 40 pounds heavier. Like, he has more, to me, likelihood to get dinged. And when you're playing behind the worst offensive line in football from last year.
After what you came from.
Right, when you came from what was rated as the best college pass blocking best offensive line in general in college football, that's going to be a shift for him. And how he handles losing when a guy in high school and college combined went 54-2, he's going to have more losses than he had in the last 8 years of his life in the first 8 weeks of the season. So those will be adjustments, but nobody can doubt how talented he is and his ability to throw to every quadrant on the field.
Yeah, he's got a lot of talent as far as his arm. There's some things I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the comparison to Russell Wilson, because who Russell Wilson is as a leader in the locker room, how he does his interviews, the message he conveys as a quarterback, the face of your franchise, always saying the right thing in tough situations. Are we just appropriating all that? Because that's part of being a quarterback, being a leader of men. Kyler is a very quiet kid. How he's going to do in the NFL locker room, we don't know about that. And Russell Wilson, let's not mistake this. His offensive line now is one of the worst. But when he came into the league, it wasn't. It was one of the best. They could run the ball, and they were a defensive, dominant, running football team. So he was able to get his feet around because he didn't have to make that many plays for them to be able to win. Kyler's direct opposite. They're not going to win games in Arizona because of their defense. They're going to win because they can be able to score some points. So the amount of pressure that's going to be on him, and the pressure is going to increase today when they trade Josh Rosen, because they're going to trade him out of the building. And it becomes more pressure, not less pressure, because if they were both practicing there would be less pressure on Kyler, because you would have the option of going with Josh Rosen that I believe will be removed today, because I believe he'll be traded.
And I didn't mean to put him in the category of Russell Wilson from an ability standpoint. I was more doing it from a physical standpoint. I don't think he has anywhere near Russell Wilson's elusiveness. I think that Russell in college was a much different player. And one of the things I like about Kyler Murray is his ability to stand in the pocket, be patient, find a second receiver if the first guy's not open, which is great until you can't do that. He could do that a lot in college, but he's going to have to move around a lot more in Arizona until they get the other things straightened out. And that could lead to some
That's where
hits,
you get hurt.
taking some of those unnecessary, and I don't think he has anywhere near the escapability that Russell Wilson had. In terms of trading Josh Rosen, they can trade him, but there's got to be a market for him, and they've got to maybe change their expectations as to what they're going to get back for it. Now, the flip side is they could potentially keep them both and hope that somebody gets hurt during training camp, and then they can trade them for a higher value. Remember the Redskins, when they drafted RG3, they also drafted Kirk Cousins, and both those guys existed. I know it's different because it was in the same round.
Right.
And I do think the point that you made earlier, you go into minicamp with those two guys, Josh Rosen is going to look infinitely better. Because he's got the year of experience. He's already had a minicamp with the new system. His work ethic has been credited, consistently. And there are questions, or there were questions about Kyler Murray on the board. You take him for whatever you want, but usually those things, there's some validity to those things if they come out the way they did.
Because the point that Chris made that you're alluding to, I find really interesting, and to be totally honest, it was not something that I had considered, which was if they don't get, I looked at it as if they don't get the value that they think, if the best offer they can get today is a 4th-round pick for Rosen, he's so cheap, and players do get hurt, you do need a backup quarterback, then obviously you hold on to him, and you wait and see what market develops. You wait and see if he plays great in a couple preseason games, if the market increases. But what do you expand on what Chris was saying earlier, which is how it could damage Kyler to have Josh there in the building, to have Josh there on the practice field.
To have Josh play better than Kyler.
Well, this also isn't going to be an Alex Smith type situation where he's mentoring Patrick Mahomes. This is going to be a fierce, competitive situation. And
why would I give him the keys? Because typically when you put a play in, there's 4 or 5 little intangibles. Right? If you get a corner off the backside, the guy's going to run a slant. If you get blitzed up the middle, the A and B gap, the left guard's going to... Why would I tell the guy that's going to take my spot all them little things? Hey, now watch on this. When they play this 4-3 defense, watch for the safety coming off the edge. Why would I do that in practice and we're competing for a job? No, I'm setting it up for him to fail. So there's a real issue if they're at minicamp together.
And he was angry about being drafted number 10 last year. Remember he said how he was going to make everybody pay? You think that he is going to embrace this guy who's coming in?
Don't believe the tweet from yesterday. Hey, man, welcome to the NFL, that Rosen was tweeting to Kyler. Man, this guy's getting ready to take your job. This is business. And there's no one happy about someone else removing them from the spot that they believe that they deserve.
Now that being said, I do think that quarterbacks, we often protect quarterbacks so much in terms of they're going to lose their confidence. Look, if your quarterback's going to lose his confidence because he's got a little competition, you probably got the wrong quarterback. You'd like to get someone who's going to come in and say, all right, I was drafted in this spot. I know you're here. That's unfortunate for you, but this is now my job. And if the other guy competes with him, great. Ideally, that makes both guys better.
The quarterback room is the least most competitive of all NFL positions. They like to give a guy and then put everything around them to make him look good. Make the plays to make him look good. They don't want someone breathing down his back like the rest of us. We got to go out there and earn our position every day. No, no, no. We don't want that from the quarterback. That's the truth around the NFL.
We got a break, Coach. We'll see you in a little bit. Coming up, how vulnerable are the Warriors tonight?